Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Pratika Bansal and I'm the Associate Director at Aplicar. Today we are joined by Mr. Arvinder Billing. He's the CEO and co-founder of Applicar. He will be sharing insights on the current latest developments for related to Canada. He will be talking about Aplicar and then he would share his experience and his expertise on the current situation that we have right now. And and we all know there has been a latest development that was released, last evening. So we will be touching upon that as well. So this webinar is basically to enhance our understanding of the latest rules and regulations mandated by the government of Canada. So without further ado, let's turn the time over to Mr. Billing.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I know it's a Saturday morning and there's so many restrictions around and other stresses related to the virus. And, I'm still taking out the time to be here and be a part of our journey and to, be part of our journey at Applicar. Having said that, we'll move on to the major objective of this webinar and the series of webinars that would follow this is we really wanted to, help you understand what Aplicar is, what was the reason behind, when we thought about starting Aplicar. It was born out of the need and the gaps that we were seeing in the industry. And so we wanted to have a platform that believes in inclusive growth and, very strongly believe that your success is our success at the end of the day. So that's why we wanted a platform which would have inclusive growth as one of its objectives and the visions that we have. So to address those gaps and need in the industry is where we started. Applicar, I'm sure most of you have used it for your application so far, and if anybody, if anybody who has not, it is a very seamless product. It is, we've tried to minimize and remove the roadblocks in the smooth journey of the student, of your student, from the time he enters your office and applies and to the time he registers in the classes. So we wanted this journey for you and your students to be as seamless and as free in terms of for all your students. Having said that, these webinars, these training events, they are very important tools for us to understand as to what the needs are and what is it that our partners wanting and how we can help you expand and grow your business. And as we said, and follow our motto that your success at the end of the day is our success. So we are really, really serious about this. We want these interactions to be meaningful, to add value to you and your team so that you are better able to serve, retain and engage those students that you meet and that walk into your office. So this is the whole purpose behind it. I had, as the fate would have it, I had all this presentation done up for today as to what does the May 15th deadline means and what does it mean to be, May 16th. But I get up in the morning and I see a tweet from IRCC in India. So some of you may have seen it and the others may not have heard about it. So I'll probably share most of my thoughts around what this new tweet means and what does it actually say, and not talk about some of the things that I had planned, because most of those things have been made redundant or useless with this tweet. So, aaj jo tweet aaya hai, what does this mean for us, for our industry moving forward is that I'm trying to, disseminate that information. It is a very dynamic and a very fluidic situation. Things change. इतनी जल्दी change हो रहे हैं. Things are changing so fast that things that I prepared this morning do not even apply. So without wasting too much of everybody's time, as I said, it's a Saturday morning. You would probably have your own plans as we move forward. So I don't know if you've read about this. I'll start to share my screen and share what that tweet is, and then talk more about it. So this morning, some of you may have woken up to this very, I don't even know how to put it, but a tweet which said, effective May 16th, panel physicians will temporarily stop providing upfront medical exam for Canadian immigration. The COVID pandemic in India requires panel physicians to focus on the critical medical services. So basically, up tak kya ho raha tha, what I was hearing from people is, Arvinder, what are your thoughts? What happens on May 16th? What happens if you're not able to submit our applications by the 15th, the end of the day on the 15th? What are our choices? Will the portal shut down? Will this happen? Will the things be processed in time? And I thought I had the answers, but this tweet puts everything, in a different situation now. And there was already a lot of stresses in terms of the May 15th deadline, and this tweet has added more, more stress and anxiety to you and to your students. So abhi mujhe do teen, I was looking at it and they said, Arvinder, here, what do you think about this? So what do I think about this? I fully understand the uncertainty that, and the stress that you and your students are facing. But this is the time to be proactive. This is the time when you really need to know what is happening and how to plan ahead and move forward. My personal thoughts based on my 15 years in this industry, having taught at Canadian institutions, having worked with the government, having recruited students from around the world, I think the students who already have their offer letters for September should pay their fees now. There's a reason for that. Why do I say that? अगर आपके बच्चे हैं जिनका ऑफर लेटर आया हुआ है for September or for January, ask them to pay the tuition fee. I know you'll say, Ki Arvinder, why are you saying this? There's no medical happening. We don't know what will happen in the future. But from my experience in the last 2 semesters and how things work from an institutional perspective and planning perspective, I can see a lot of deferrals, a lot of students deferring their admissions from September to January. So what that means is September is by far the biggest intake. Or jab January ki baat aati hai, there's already limited seats when we start off with. So to start with, वैसे ही seats जो थी, they were almost 60 to 70% of the seats in fall. Now, with all these students deferring to the winter 22 session, you don't want your students to lose on और फिर आपके पास आएंगे, सर आपने हमें बताया ही नहीं कि सीटें इतनी जल्दी भर जाएंगी या सीटें ओपन ही नहीं हुई हैं. So if you want to save yourself having those tough discussions with your students, I think there are limited seats that are still open for September, or the institutions are open for January. So students who have the offer letters should pay their deposits and have their seat confirmed. बहुत ज़्यादा rush पड़ने वाला है. We will see a huge rush for winter intake. Okay, we still have students from 2020 who graduated, who haven't started. They were deferred. नहीं जी मुझे तो तब जाना है जब when the things start in person. वो नहीं हुआ. Students who finished in 2021 but haven't written their exams, they are still, we don't know what is happening with those exam situations. And then come February or March 2022, we have another batch of students who would be graduating in 2022, March or April. So think about the rush that would be there in 2022. So it's very important for the students to understand that the show must and will go on. No matter if you pay the deposit or not, there is somebody else who will pay it. And then not blame you saying ki sir aapne nahi bataya. But please, when you are talking to your students, jab aap unhe options de rahe ho, make sure you have the deferral and the refund policies, with you handy, and make sure your students know what those policies are so that they can make an informed choice. At the end of the day, any decision that the student makes has to be an informed decision. So number one, students who have their offer letters, my personal opinion is they should pay and reserve their seat either for fall. If not, अगर बच्चा कहता है सर मेरा तो फॉल में होना ही नहीं है, तो then what is the point? अगर नहीं भी हो रहा, the point is when you defer, now you are first in the line. There's limited seats to start with. Now you're first in line. So you have that advantage. I have already seen students, hundreds of students who were waiting for fall 2021 to open, but the students were defer, and some of these programs did not even open or opened with very limited seats. So they don't want to make this mistake, but they should make this decision based on the refund policies. They should be aware of what the deferral policies are. So that's my number one personal thought on this. दूसरी चीज आ रही है, students who have not applied, they should not wait. I repeat, the students should not wait and say कि अभी तो बहुत time पड़ा है यार for winter, for January, I'll apply later. No, time, you think that there is time, but what you're not realizing is the limited seats that open up in January. So my suggestion is to apply for January now where the seats are open, so that you are first in line. So this ensures when the May semester opens, the winter session opens 2022, you are in first in line and you get your admissions and you have enough time with all these uncertainties to apply for your visa and plan for your trip and other surrounding logistics around it. So that is the reason why I'm saying this, to pay the deposit, to apply for winter 2022 now and not wait. Don't sit on it. We've already seen hundreds of students miss out on May and September and now saying, sir, ab winters mein hi hota hai, to wahin pe karwa dijiye. So please be proactive. This is not the time to step back. This is the time to keep your students engaged. Tell them this is our job as, as industry experts to help them make that informed choice. दूसरी चीज, if the winter session is not open, I personally think they should apply for September, even though chances are that they may not hear back on their decision in time to start September. But even if that is the case, you are now, because you're deferring, you already have an admission, you already paid the tuition deposit, you are first in line for winter intake. So I can definitely see a big rush for these January seats with very limited seats, a lot of deferrals, and next to no new seats, and students from 2021 to joining in. We don't know when the exams would be or what is happening with that. But by the time the seats, in next 2, 3, 4 months, we'll definitely have some news on what is happening with grade 12 students in India and other regions. So this is what my thought is on this, as to what this means. I understand the uncertainty, I understand the anxiety, but this is also the time to realize, that the seats for January would be limited. I am personally expecting a huge surge in deferrals from fall to winter. So make sure your students understand that if they snooze, they lose. That can as very well happen. I'm not trying to scare you away. I'm just trying to share what I personally think. I could be wrong, but I've been in this industry long enough to understand how things work and how the seats play out. We still remember in 2017 when most of the seats were, not open to international students. So, or, because of the delays and the number of applications. So that's what was happening. The other thing that I've been hearing a lot about from, our partners and potential students is the recent flight ban from India. So what does that mean? So what does the flight ban mean? Things are looking positive in terms of where Canada is. When I say positive is what Prime Minister Trudeau said. He said, we are hopeful that we'll be able to start flying normally very soon in these coming months. And he said, it is based on 70% of the Canadian population at least having one shot. The positive side is this data says 40%. I just read a news before this that 50% of the eligible adults in Canada already have their first shot. So once they reach that 70% threshold, we will start to see things opening up. So even though it is a setback for students who are wanting to fly, but the timing was not too bad. May is a very small semester. So having said that, so by the time September starts, students who have their visas should be able to fly. I can definitely see this being extended for another 30 days and maybe sometimes into July also at the most. But I personally don't see this ban being extended into September. So, I can definitely see this extending. But if there was ever to be a ban, this probably is the right time in terms of that, the May semester has started, the September does not start, and the new guidelines are that the students can only travel about 3 weeks before their semester starts at the most. So we still have, even if this ban runs for another 30 days, 45 days, it does not impact the students' travel plans for students who would be flying out for September. So that's what my personal thought is. I very strongly believe that the flights will open in time and for the fall semester. But I don't know what the protocols would be around. So I'm very positive. So having said this, I very strongly believe, and as everyone says, the show must go on, and I'm very sure it will go on. If there is any market, any country that has been very proactive and who's been sending out all the right news, and occasionally these news, a bit setbacks, but moreover, more positive news in the last 1 year has been Canada. They've been very proactive in terms of, you know, how they're treating studying from abroad, their postgraduate work permits, and also the new PR, the TR to PR policies. So it's keeping the interest and engagement from students and international education industry alive. So that's where I'm saying. So I see a huge surge in deferrals from fall to winter, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree with that. So that means, what does that mean? Meaning very limited seats for winter 22. So the students who already have offers should not hold back saying, oh, I'll pay it in 2 months, 3 months and see how it is, how it works out. So they may not have a seat by that time, right? With the deferrals. So that's what I wanted to share with you. But on a more positive note, my thoughts on where I see us in 2022. I've already touched on a lot of these topics. Number one, I'm very positive with what 2022 has in store for at least the Canadian market, not for some of the other like the Australia and New Zealand, but I'm very positive for Canada as a destination for international students. There's number of reasons for that. Even though we have seen the uncertainties, the lockdowns, travel restrictions on and off, we are still seeing a huge demand from students. We already have a pool of students who are now would be graduating anytime this year. And by the time travel restrictions, we have a 2022 batch of students who would be graduating ready to apply for 2022 sessions. So there's a big pool of students who are, ready from this year, last year, and the next year. This also is helped by the extremely positive and proactive student-friendly policies by our IRCC. There has been no other government who has been as proactive and supportive of us as an industry. They're doing everything that they can to ensure that we have a very smooth sailing in terms of international students arriving in Canada, keeping in mind everybody's safety and security. I am also, what would also help Canada, and why I'm so positive is the restrictions that have been placed by Australia, New Zealand, UK, and some of the other ones. So when we look at this, all of these in total, we think it is going to be a very positive year. It would probably be one of the strongest years ever. That's my personal belief and everything that I've seen, and all the outlying factors. So ये मेरा अपना personal belief है and opinion है, but I think there is a reasons for it, and I've explained those reasons hopefully. So that's pretty much it from me. So these were a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. So the temporary stop of upfront medical, the the ban on the flights, and where do we see ourselves in 2022? I know the times have been tough. It's really hard for us to be positive, but I can definitely be positive based on some of these reasons and what I'm seeing and been talking to different institutions and what their beliefs are. So moving forward, before I give the floor to Pritika to introduce Tam, who's our CTO, and talk about a bit of the new features that we're adding. I really appreciate we would really appreciate your feedback and some of the other topics that you want to hear from us moving forward. You will have a survey. Our team, our growth team, would share a short survey about different topics or what your thoughts on, or that what you want to learn through our professional development series. हम चाहते हैं कि this series helps you and your team in a manner that we can at the end of the day serve our students in a better manner. We are able to serve our students to the best of our abilities. We have the expertise and we want to ensure that we share that with you, right? And your success is our success. I've said this 3, 4 times in this presentation. Believe me, I cannot say and emphasize this enough. We, as a team, from day one, everything that we have done, believe that we are in this together. Your success is our success, and we want to succeed as a team. Thank you so much for giving me the time and the opportunity to share what I personally believe where we are headed as an industry, and all the reasons that I see for us to be positive. So thank you so much, and Pritita, over to you, please. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Arvinder. Thank you so much for sharing that important information with us and all our recruitment partners. That was quite informative and useful. We do have some questions. There are some certain queries that our partners have posted. What do you suggest? Should we take them after Tam has,
I think let's have Tam on. We'll
yeah.
have. I think Tam would keep it really short and sweet. I understand that there would be a lot of questions, and we want to get into those. And so, yeah, please go ahead, Pratik.
All right. Thank you. So I welcome Tam, and thank you so much for taking out the time. And please let our partners know what Aplicar is all about, where the vision came from, and so over to you, Tam. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Really nice to meet all of you here. Tam here. So, kind of what Pratika alluded to a little bit, I'm the CTO of Aplicar. So, we take care of just trying to give you the best experience possible when it comes to the application that you use with Aplicar. So, what I'll do, I mean, many of you are probably already familiar with the application, but I'm going to go just do a very quick walkthrough in case you haven't used it before or in case you've missed some of the features. So yeah, I'm sharing my screen right here. This is Aplicar. It all starts with education. So we really believe that, I came as an international student myself to Canada, and I truly believe that, it could be a life-changing experience for a lot of your clients, a lot of your students. And we want to help you basically do it in the best and the smoothest possible way. So I'm logged in here to Aplicar as an agent, as a partner account. And, I would recommend all of you to start by trying to find the right program for your client. So as our partner, we really try to get you as many options as possible when it comes to schools in Canada and variety of programs. So we've built a very fast search that will help you quickly filter. So if for instance, that like your students say, when I come to British Columbia, you can simply select that and you will see those options are updating accordingly. If they like a particular city, such as, Burnaby, for instance, we're filtering even further down here. If you want to find something that will help them in a particular field, for instance, you could go to business, or for instance, you could find them a program based on like the language requirements. If for instance, they have 6 across the board or things like that, you could filter. I would highly encourage you to just spend time, play with it. It really help you discover. We have thousands of programs and hundreds of schools, and just this search will really help you just refine and get the right program for your client. So next up here, when you want to help one of your clients actually find a program, it's very easy to create a client account by simply going to this client right here and then clicking create. So we ask you to give their email. So I'll actually just enter an email of mine, just so we could make it simple. Right. Just put some passport number here. So you put basically their passport number, you put their basically date of birth, and you click create. And next up here, what you do is you start to apply for your client. So if you already know the school, you could simply click apply, or you could search, which will take you to the same search that I showed you earlier. So in this case, let's say I'll go to apply. And let's say I know I want to apply for North Island College. So I go here, I find more information about the college, their location, their tuition, etc. Let's say you decide to go to this program. Actually, most of the intakes are closed, so maybe I'll choose some other one. So this one here seems like it has open intakes, university studies. You simply start the process by clicking apply here, and then this will take you through a wizard to actually start your application process. Honestly, the application process should take you like maybe 10-15 minutes, and then the very first time, and then every subsequent time it will be much less. So you could basically select their citizenship, male or female. You enter basically their information. I mean, I'll just enter a Canada address here because I'm familiar with it, but you get the idea here. Basically, we ask you to enter their address, their emergency contact. Again, I'm just putting some test data for now, and then click. Oops. We don't allow duplicate phone numbers, so this is why it's it's giving me this problem. Then we're asked you to give us their qualifications. So you could simply enter, if say they have a high school diploma. You can say, for instance, they have some institute, some school, and they have, let's say, 80%. And then when they graduated, let's say they graduated 2020, and then the English tests, let's say they have an IELTS of 7 across the board. And then next here, we'll check their eligibility. Based on what we learned from the school requirement for that particular program, we tell you if you're likely eligible and you're likely ineligible. We can never say 100% either way. There's always a decision for the school to be made. But we can tell you with a certain degree of confidence what are the odds of your student, your client, being accepted into our program. Next up comes the documents. We ask you to upload their passport, their, high school diploma, their IELTS score. So basically you go through them, you upload the document. Again, just to make it quick here, I'll just upload the passport. And then the final step here is actually the payment. In this particular case, the application fee has been waived. So we could just simply click submit the application, and then that will start the application process for your client. So I'll go ahead and click submit here, and congratulations, the payment has been completed. Of course, there was no payment here. And then it gives you some other recommendation for similar programs. And just to show you how easy is it to apply for other programs, once you fill in the information once, it's literally just clicking apply. You've already filled all this, next. You've already filled all this, next. I'm also eligible for this program. You can even select a previously uploaded document, click next. Also, this one has been waived, so you can just simply submit it. It literally took me like 2 minutes to actually do a second application. Now, once this happens, our back office will receive it. They will actually check for completeness, so the documents are fine. Sometimes there may be more documents needed for particular programs that ask you for this. So we'll basically make sure that the application is completed, and then we send it to the school for processing. And then here you click clients, and then you can track the status of your application. So in this case here, as you can see, I did a lot of demos in here. So I'll search for this one here. So this one here, notice it says started paid. So this is the status of my current application. Now I'm going to just highlight one more feature for you and then tell you what's coming up next for you. So let's say your student doesn't know what program they want to study. Sometimes they're confused. We actually built a survey that you could actually click here. So if you go to the student again, you can click this edit right here. And there is here this interest survey that you can help your student take to decide what they're likely to succeed at. So we've developed a survey with the help of many University of Toronto researchers to actually help us like answer a series of questions and based on those questions, recommend what could be more suitable for your student based on their aptitude. So again, I'm just randomly answering the survey right here, but your student will actually answer it properly on these different, different scales. And then the final step here would be scoring your candidate on different dimensions and then recommending to them what they're likely to succeed at. So in this case, it's same based on those answers that I provided. Medicine and health sciences is the most likely top match, with an engineering as a runner-up. And then with one click here, actually just quickly just searching for all the programs in those fields. What we're doing next is actually we're gonna be basically again talking about upcoming features. This is a good transition here, is to help you do a second survey to actually help you dig into those specific fields within engineering or within medical and health sciences, and basically dig up and help your student get the programs over there. So yeah, those are basically, there's a lot more features to Aplicar. Highly encourage you to just go and try those features for yourself, and just talk to any Aplicar representative if you have any feedback. Would really appreciate any feedback that we could improve your experience and make it better. One thing we're launching next week is the Applicator Guarantee. Not a lot to show here, but just to let you know. So as part of our commitment to give you the best experience for Aplicar, we want to give you a guarantee that we will submit your application 24 hours after it's been completed. So the minute that you give us all the documents and we treat it as a complete application, we'll give you the guarantee that it will be submitted to the school within 24 hours, or we will give you 10% more of commission back. So this is, again, the Applicator Guarantee. It's not just a one-time promotion. It's actually part of our core values and our core offering at Aplicar. So this is being launched on Monday. Again, you could try it for yourself. You'll get an email as soon as the application is completed. And then from that email, 24 hours, and basically we will deliver it. And with Aplicar, we're always pushing new features. We're always improving the app, and we would basically always appreciate any feedback you can give us to improve your experience. Yeah, so that's basically it from my end. Thank you all for listening. If there are questions, particularly for me later, we'd be more than happy to answer them.
Sure. All right. Thank you so much, Sam. And just to thank you for showing us what Aplicar is all about. I think, as you correctly mentioned, it took only a couple of minutes for us to launch an application. And just to relay what Tam was saying, so, our 24 hours guarantee is not a promotional offer, but it's a service level guarantee that we are offering to all our recruitment partners. We understand how important and crucial it is, especially for Canada, to submit applications well in time. So we will stick to our commitment of processing our complete application in 24 hours time. If the application is complete, is meeting the requirements, and everything is good, and still our team is not able to submit it in 24 hours, we are committing, we are saying that we will give you additional 10% commission for that particular application, right? And so if you have any questions, if you have not yet signed up with Aplicar, please reach out to Team Aplicar. We will put down our contact details in the session. You feel free to reach out to me or our business development team managers. And so moving on, Arvinder, we have many questions from our participants. The session, I believe, was quite insightful. And if you're okay, I can take up a couple of questions which are common, and then we can explore them, right? All right. Let me pull the questions. So we have first question to Mr. Gaurav. His question is, do you think that the study visa consultancy firm will continue their work because the impact of the pandemic will not be reduced in the next 2 years in every sense, whether it is financial or health problem. Do you think the consultancies should continue their work?
So as we said, historically and traditionally, you're absolutely right, and that's a very good question. And this is here to stay, but this doesn't mean that it is the end of the international education as we know. So what that means is that the world's getting vaccinated. We, as I said, Canada already 50% of the adults have their first dose, and they're hoping to have everybody vaccinated by September. So that would open up a lot more, travel opportunities for students. What will eventually happen, I can see happening, is people learning to live with it in a phase where everybody's vaccinated, or most of the people are vaccinated, and there's a herd immunity built in. So that is where I see it. So absolutely, and that is one of the things which I said, if you are exclusively were in New Zealand market, if you were exclusively into Australia, you may have certain reasons to worry about, because of the policies. But the commitment from the Canadian government, the ministry, and the IRCC cannot be proven in any better way than the policies that they've started. They are very student centric. They've been as flexible as you can be, and they've been very welcoming. So they understand the importance of education as a student destination, as a what it means, what international student means to Canadian economy. So you have all the reasons to be in this. I know it is tough. I can have that question for any business you are in. If you are a hotel, what do you do? Do you shut down? If you are a restaurant, what do you do? Right? So this is more of a generic question, but this industry as such will survive, and is surviving, in the best manner that it can be. And absolutely, yes.
All right. Thank you, Arvinder. And I hope, Gaurav, that answers your question. Moving on, then we have another question that, Arvinder, how do you see home edition language test working in terms of Canada student application success in the near future, since SELT tests are pretty much going to stay closed in the foreseeable future? So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure what we mean from home edition. If we are talking about some of the, like the Duolingo or something which you could sit at home and do, if that is what it is, a more and more institutions are accepting those for initial offer letters and stuff. So you can still start your admissions process based on these. Or a lot of institutions have started to say, okay, if you don't have the IELTS, but if you were at a CBSE student or an ICSE student, or your medium of instruction was for English for 4 years or more, they have started to look at those options, but nothing has been announced around that. But more and more institutions are being very creative and open to these ideas. So that's from the admission perspective. If this situation continues, where there's no exams happening in the foreseeable future, we'll have to see what the IRCC thinks and decides on this. It would have to be more of a wait and watch policy at this moment, because it has a lot to do with factors which are beyond the control of IRCC at this point. So I would say, I think wait and watch would be my thought on that.
All right. Thank you, Arvinder. We have another question that, we have a partner. Two of his students have been admitted to University of Guelph. The university is asking to file visa without even getting the class 12 results under non-SDS. So he's asking whether he should go ahead and file the visa, or should he wait for it?
See, here, my thought on that would be, when the university offered the admission to a student, it had a condition saying your admission, like, because I know this from experience, my daughter just got accepted into SFU and other Canadian universities, that admission is usually based on the condition that you have an admission with us, provided you still maintain the standards in your final exams, right? So we don't have that yet. But if the university says, you know what, we'll remove this condition based on your pre-boards or other exams or grade 11 exams, I think then that would be a fair chance, because anybody who's accepted into University of Dolph or other top universities, those are fairly smart students, and they almost all the university students are pretty much in the same situation. They just have their admission decisions made. A lot of them, they were just wanting to apply, and now this has happened. There's no final exams. So at this point, I believe if the university says that you met the admission requirements based on this, then I think with a strong letter of recommendation, it could be done. I'm not saying 100%, but it has a strong possibility that, with the academics and everything, that the visa officer would have a positive outlook, keeping in mind everything that is happening.
All right. Thank you, Arvinder. So moving on to the next question. Few students have not yet appeared for IELTS. Should we still make students apply for January, or should we apply for September instead?
See, if the students have not applied, or they're not able to write their IELTS exam, my suggestion would be to look at institutions with conditional letters or something, so that at least you have foot in the door. My apprehension, what I've seen in September and in May, it was very few seats opening up, and I'm sure everybody on this panel would have seen that happen. Yes.
All right. I have another question, Arvinder, that given the change with this medical, test and everything, what should be the action plan? Should they continue applying for January wherever it is possible? Or what happens with the students who have the offer but have not made the deposit? Should they go ahead and make a deposit?
And that's what I said. See, my thought on that is, I am seeing a huge surge in deferrals from September to January. So when January session opens, if it's not already open, the first choice or the first in line is the students who are deferring. If you have the admission, I would strongly suggest them to pay their deposit. But as I said in my presentation also, that make sure that the student understands the deferral and the refund policy, just in case things don't turn out the way. And again, it is my personal understanding of the situation. And it is a very fluid situation at this time. But that's what I've been telling everybody. You make sure that you are in the line, you are in the queue when things open up. If you're not, you could look at waiting for another couple of semesters.
Another question which is quite similar, Arvinder, and I've seen a lot of people have posted it directly to me, that the files are ready. They were about to book their medical slots and everything. So should they apply visas under non-SDS for now? Should they wait? If yes, what would be your suggestion to them?
Sorry, I'm sorry. What was that?
So they want. So a couple of our partners want to understand their files are all ready. They were about to lodge it today, or So what should they do now? Should they hold?
So if it is a complete application, they should. So what the government said is the May 15th deadline was not the end of the road. They said if you apply by May 15th, we will have a decision for you by August 6th. So what I'm saying is that even if your decision is not made by August 6th, it is made on, say, for example, you apply tomorrow and your decision is made on August 20th or 25th, you still have enough time to fly to Canada if things open up, which I'm hoping they will by that time. So you still have enough time. So if you have a complete application, you should.
Then there are a couple of questions related to our portal. So the career survey that Tam showed you all is available for all the students. It does not matter whether the student is applying for an undergraduate or postgraduate, because it's an aptitude-based test which will help you assess students' interest. So I hope, Pooja, that answers your question. And okay, back to you, Arvinder. We have another question. Before I take up this question, I think Zain wants to unmute and ask the question to you directly, Arvinder. So then you can go ahead and unmute and you can ask your question and then you can go back to me.
Thank you so much. Arvinder said this has been very timely. It's like a very uncertain situation for everyone, and I was hoping for a session like this. So I'll get to my questions. I know that the institutions have been very creative with the English requirement, but I have a couple of students who need to sit for their English proficiency test, and IELTS is now closed in Bangladesh. Do you think it will be okay for them to do Duolingo and submit that for their study permit?
See, this is what I have told a lot of students. If you have a very strong profile and you write a letter wherein you tell the visa officer that I don't have an IELTS, but all my academic, has been in English. I can, all my 12 years of
Mhm.
education has been in English, and I have a pretty strong communication skills. I've been accepted into the top university. Maybe have a reference letter from one of the teachers or somebody,
Right.
and show the
Sure.
results from 10th and 11th, and make up a strong case that it is. I don't want to, lose 1 year for this, and this is why I think I'm a pretty good candidate. So uh, you'll just have to write a pretty strong letter, and there are, the cases where I think we've seen positive results.
So it's worth the shot with a strong case, building the
Yes,
letter of
so
explanation. It's
yeah, right. Have the student write as to why he thinks, in this situation. Like, just I'll give you an example. When this TR to PR applications opened, they said if you don't have a police clearance report, you can write a strong reason as to why you don't have it. We'll consider it.
right,
You see
right.
what I'm saying? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that this is 100%, but I have seen students do that in the past.
Right,
That
and
I've
right
been a
now I think
student
this
and
is the
yes,
only option, but because I don't
this is the
see
only
IELTS
option.
opening up before June, so
So this is the
I,
only option. If he wants
right,
to maybe wait and watch for next couple of weeks or 10 days, I don't know, but he wants to apply, he should write it down and have a pretty strong reason for that as to why he should be exempted and upload that, I believe.
sure. Thank you, sir. And
Yeah.
the last one is I'm mainly dealing with the Bangladeshi market, but there have been
Yes.
couple of students from India, and I believe for Indian students they go through the SDS stream for the visa process.
Uh, you can, and it is, there's certain parameters that you need to take off to be an
Fulfill?
SDS
Yeah,
application.
right.
So if you don't, there is nobody stopping you from non-SDS. It is not to say that non-SDS do not
Will
get
not
the
apply for that.
visas.
Right, right.
Yeah, so you can still apply. You can still potentially get a visa. It's just that where the SDS ratio is pretty high, the ratio of successful visa approvals for non-SDS may be a bit lower, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, sir, in this case, I've never dealt with the SDS application. So I just
Mhm.
wanted to know how easy it is to open a GIC account for that
So
student.
what we can do is, Zain, it's I don't know, are you back in Toronto or are you still
I'm
in
still in
Bangladesh?
Dhaka. Still in
Okay,
Dhaka.
I hope you and everybody in the family is doing great.
Thank you
Or
so much.
yeah, so I think this is a much bigger discussion, but you can get in touch with one of our support teams, and they would probably be able to help you understand the GIC process, or maybe set up a sometime after this with me, and then we would be able to do
Definitely.
it. Yeah, sure.
Definitely. Perfect. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
your time, sir. I'll get
Thank
in
you.
touch.
Yeah.
Take care. Thank you. Thank
Thank you, Zain. Arvinder, a couple of more questions that have been posted. Without biometric submission, IRCC won't be able to give the decision. True, not true. How should we go about it?
They un- so until you have the biometrics, and if you're applying at the moment it stands, they'll not be able to finalize that decision on your application. They may start processing it, or they may hold until you get it, but that is true. But what I've seen in Canada, they waived it off. Up until last year, certain point of time, they were like, oh, if you don't have this, we'll not process it. But now they said if you're within Canada and you don't have the biometrics, we'll still approve your extensions and work permits and other things. I'm not saying this is also applicable to students who are applying from outside of Canada or from their home countries. But that is true that you need the biometrics for them to actually issue you the visa and make the final decision. Your application would be in process. Last year, sometime they said, we will not refuse your application if you did not have biometrics or something. So it would still be there, but they may not process it. The decision may not be made. But remember, you are still in that line. You are amongst the first in those lines. Yes.
All right. Another question from Mr. Randeep. As we know, since medical is not a mandatory requirement for non-SDS visa applicants, what if we get the student insured instead of upfront medical like in other countries? Will that work?
I honestly don't have an answer to that. It is, as I said, it's a very fluid situation. Things are changing every day. For a non-SDS, I think if you apply, once they made a decision, and if it's a positive decision, they may ask you to get your medical done, more like what happens in a family sponsorship or others, where they process, they assess your application, process your application, and then say, okay, now you met all the admission requirements, admissibility. Now we want to see your admissibility requirements. So they may do that, but I am not 100% sure on that. But it is a possibility in a non-SDS.
All right. All right. So our next question for Sukhpreet. I'm not sure if I've understood your question, but she wants to know, can students use two GIC accounts if they apply from another country?
I'm not sure, but why would you want to pay $20,000 when you can pay $10,000? That's my first, right? So that would be my first reaction. Why do you want to pay and blot all this money for 2 years or 1 year when you don't have to? It does not improve your chances of visa. All you're doing is you're blocking your money.
Right. Okay. Will Aplicar help us only for visa filing?
So if you are a recruitment partner and you need help, we have our in-house RCIC's team based in Canada, and who can help your teams, with that processing. If you just want to work on bringing the students on board and want to, and that's something that we can definitely, do for that. Yes.
All right. So I hope, Stella, that answers your question. We can definitely assist you. If you're a recruitment partner, please reach out to your account manager, or I have shared my email ID. You can connect with us and with me directly, and I'll help you there. Harsh, I'm not sure. You want some clarity on the commission structure? Our existing. Can we take that offline? I'll ask our recruitment team members, our account managers to reach out to you. If you can leave your email ID, and we are running short on time. We have a couple of things that we wanted to cover before we can wrap up. And as I said, I'm sharing my email ID again with you all. Please feel free to reach out to me, right? Or leave your email IDs, and we will reach out to you today, latest by Monday morning. And even if you've missed out on anything, do not worry. We would be, sharing the recording of this event, of this webinar with you all. I'm posting my email ID again. Please feel free to write to me in case you have any follow-up questions. If you want to be part of Aplicar, please feel free to write to me, and we'll be, we'll help you.
So thank you so much, everybody. It's been a pleasure, and talking to you, and wonderful questions, and we look forward to having more of these information sessions with you and your team. Thank you so much.